Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, why am I feeling off lately, even though everything seems fine on the outside? Maybe you're going about your day, doing the same things you've done for years, waking up, having your coffee, taking your walk, watching your shows, but something just doesn't feel quite right. Your energy isn't what it used to be. Your sleep feels lighter. Your mood, maybe a little flatter. Nothing's wrong exactly, but something's off. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not imagining it. As we move into our 60s and beyond, our bodies and minds shift in ways that are often subtle, almost hidden. You might not notice a big change overnight, but over time, the little things add up, and before we know it, the lifestyle that once worked for us starts to work against us. Not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a quiet way that slowly chips away at our energy, our health, and even our joy. That's why today, we're having a heart-to-heart about something incredibly important. Tuning up your lifestyle for longevity. Not just to live longer, but to live better. Because what good is more time if you're not feeling your best during it? In this video, we're going to gently uncover 5 hidden signs that your routine may need a few updates. Simple, practical changes that can help you feel more energized, more balanced, and more alive, even as the years go by. So let's ease into the first one. And I want you to think about this one carefully. When was the last time you felt genuinely refreshed after a night's sleep? I'm not talking about just opening your eyes and getting out of bed. I mean waking up and feeling ready, clear-headed, rested, and ready to enjoy the day. If it's been a while, your body may be trying to tell you something. One of the most overlooked signs that your lifestyle needs a tune-up is poor sleep that sneaks in slowly. It's not always insomnia. It might be waking up too often, or feeling like your mind is still tired even after 8 hours. And here's the tricky part. You might not connect it to anything in your routine, but everything from what you eat to when you move to how much sunlight you get affects your sleep more than you might think. For example, if your evenings are filled with late-night TV, long stretches of sitting, or even a heavy dinner too close to bedtime, your sleep can quietly suffer. Over time, that leads to foggy thinking, low energy, and even changes in mood and memory. A simple adjustment, like taking a short walk in the late afternoon, cutting down on screen time an hour before bed, or eating your last meal a little earlier, can do wonders. You might be surprised how quickly your body responds to even small tweaks. Now, let's talk about something that's just as subtle, but just as important. Let me ask you, have you noticed your appetite changing? Not just what you eat, but why you eat. Another hidden sign that your lifestyle needs a refresh is when food becomes more of a routine than a source of nourishment and pleasure. It's easy to fall into the same eating habits. Toast in the morning, sandwich at lunch, something simple at night. But as we age, our bodies need change. And so does our relationship with food. Sometimes we lose interest in eating or forget to eat balanced meals. Other times, food becomes comfort instead of fuel. Neither is ideal, and both can quietly erode your health over time. What your body really needs now is color, variety, and nutrients that support things like brain health, joint strength, and digestion. If your meals are starting to look beige, toast, pasta, crackers, more toast, that's a red flag. A tired body doesn't always ask for more greens or berries, but sure benefits from them. Adding just one colorful vegetable to your lunch or replacing a packaged snack with a handful of nuts can start shifting your energy, your digestion, and even your mood. And don't underestimate how emotional eating becomes in later years. Loneliness, stress, or boredom can sneak into our plates without us even noticing. That's why it's important to check in with yourself. Not just what am I eating, but why am I eating? Are you truly hungry? Or are you just feeling a quiet moment? These small moments of awareness are powerful, and they're the first steps toward a lifestyle that supports not just survival, but vitality. Now, here's something that might hit close to home. Have your days started to feel more repetitive, even a little empty at times? Another hidden sign that your lifestyle could use a tune-up is a loss of mental stimulation. Our brains thrive on novelty. They like to be challenged. And when we stop learning, stop engaging, or stop being curious, our minds have become sluggish. It's not about doing crossword puzzles every day, although those are great too. It's about finding something that stretches your mind, even just a little. Maybe it's learning a new skill, starting a small project, or even having deeper conversations with people. When our days become too quiet, not just in sound, but in thought, our motivation starts to fade. And that can quietly affect our mood, our memory, and even our sense of purpose. So ask yourself, when was the last time you did something for the first time? When was the last time you read something that made you think, wow, I didn't know that? Those moments don't just make life interesting. They keep your brain strong, and that's a key part of living longer, healthier, and happier. Now that we've explored some of these early signs, those subtle shifts in sleep, nutrition, and mental energy, let's keep going and look even deeper into how your lifestyle might be working against your best years. Because the truth is, sometimes what's missing isn't something physical. It's not always about the food we eat or how we sleep. Sometimes what our body is really missing is connection. Let me ask you this. Do you ever go through an entire day or even several without having a meaningful conversation? I'm not talking about small talk at the grocery store or a quick good morning to the neighbor. I mean real connection, the kind that makes you feel seen, heard, and valued. A hidden sign that your lifestyle might need a gentle tune-up is emotional isolation. And the tricky thing is, you don't have to be alone to feel lonely. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like you're drifting through the days without true engagement. As we get older, our social circles often shrink. Friends move away, family gets busy, or life simply becomes quieter. That's normal. But here's the thing. Humans are wired for connection. It keeps our hearts softer, our minds sharper, and even supports our immune system. When we go too long without meaningful contact, it's like a piece of us starts to dim. You might feel more irritable, more tired, or just less motivated, even if you can't quite explain why. So, how do you fix something like that? It doesn't mean throwing yourself into a crowd or pretending to be an extrovert if that's not you. It's about adding more quality to the moments you already have. Maybe it's calling a friend instead of texting. Maybe it's joining a small book group or a walking club, something where you can share, listen, and just be with others. And if in-person meetups aren't possible, even a regular phone call or video chat can work wonders. It's not about quantity. It's about presence. Feeling connected doesn't always require grand gestures. It often starts with small, intentional ones. Now, let's talk about something that's often overlooked because it doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't ache like a bad knee or make noise like a snoring partner. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And that's your sense of purpose. Have you noticed that the days feel longer but somehow emptier? That you sometimes wake up and wonder, what am I doing today, and why does it matter? If you have, please know that it's not silly, and you're certainly not alone. After decades of working, raising families, being needed in so many ways, retirement or an empty nest can leave a space. And sometimes that space feels more like a hole. Having a purpose, no matter how big or small, is fuel for longevity. It gives your days shape, your heart direction, and your life meaning. You don't need to be saving the world. You just need something that lights you up, even a little. It could be taking care of your garden, mentoring a younger person, volunteering at a local shelter, or working on that family recipe book you always said you'd write. What matters is that it gives you a reason to look forward to something, a reason to get out of bed that isn't just habit, but hope. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be real. And if you're not sure what that is yet, don't worry. Sometimes rediscovering purpose begins with just doing one thing differently. One new step that leads you towards something that matters again. And while we're on the topic of direction, let's touch on something that people rarely talk about, but it can quietly hold you back without you even noticing. And that's a subtle resistance to change. I get it. You've lived a lot of life. You figured out what works. And honestly, routine can feel like a warm blanket, familiar, safe, and easy. But here's the quiet danger. What once worked for you might not be what you need now. And holding on too tightly to old habits can slowly start to weigh you down. Maybe you've told yourself, this is just how I've always done it, or I'm too old to change now. But let me tell you something, that belief, that's the one thing that can rob you of the vitality you still have. You're not too old. You're never too old to shift, to grow, to improve. Change doesn't have to be drastic. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable. It just needs to be intentional. Even something as simple as changing the way you start your mornings, maybe stepping outside for 5 minutes before coffee or playing music while you make breakfast, can open a new channel of energy in your life. And every small change you make is like telling your body, your mind, and your spirit, I'm still alive. I still care. This kind of gentle flexibility is actually one of the greatest tools for longevity. It keeps your brain agile, your body engaged, and your soul curious. The people who live the longest, most vibrant lives aren't necessarily the strongest or even the fittest. They're often the ones who keep adapting, who keep learning, growing, exploring. So if you found yourself clinging to old routines that no longer feel good, but are hard to let go of, that might be your inner wisdom nudging you toward a tune-up. What we're really doing here is listening to the quiet messages your body and your spirit are sending, the ones that say, something's off, even when nothing seems obviously wrong. And those messages, they deserve your attention, because they're not signs of weakness. They're invitations to live better, deeper, and longer. Next, we'll keep going deeper into this conversation and uncover more ways your current habits may be affecting the health and joy you deserve to feel. And that brings us to something many people overlook because it seems so ordinary, so normal, that we forget to question it. It's something we do every single day, yet we rarely pause to notice how it actually makes us feel. I'm talking about the pace of your day. Now I know that sounds simple, but hear me out. Over time, many of us fall into a rhythm that's either too rushed or too slow. Some days feel like a blur, full of chores, errands, background noise, and you get to the evening wondering where the day even went. Other days might feel stretched out and strangely empty, with too much sitting, too much waiting, and not enough movement or stimulation. Either extreme, too fast or too still, can wear on your body and your mood. If your days feel rushed, you might notice tension in your shoulders, trouble sleeping, or feeling irritable over small things. On the flip side, if your routine has slowed too much, you might feel foggy, unmotivated, or even a little down without knowing why. The body and brain both thrive on balance. A healthy rhythm includes moments of movement, moments of rest, a bit of challenge, and a bit of ease. It's not about being busy, and it's definitely not about being lazy. It's about being intentional with your time. So ask yourself gently, does your current routine give you energy or drain it? Does it stretch you just a little or leave you feeling stiff, physically or emotionally? One way to tune things up is by adding something small but meaningful to your day. For example, start the morning with a short walk, even if it's just around the yard or to the mailbox and back. Maybe mid-morning you try a gentle puzzle, read a few pages of a book, or listen to music that lifts you. After lunch, a few light stretches or simply sitting outside with a cup of tea can reset your system in the best way. Think of your day like a song. It's much more beautiful with a mix of notes. Too much repetition and the music gets dull. A few gentle changes, and suddenly the melody feels alive again. And here's something that's just as important as the pace of your day, maybe even more so. It's how you talk to yourself. Yes, you heard that right. The inner voice in your head. The one that's always commenting, judging, reminding, questioning. That voice shapes how you see yourself and how you feel inside your skin. Many of us grew up being told to be tough, to push through, to keep our heads down. And while there's strength in that, there's also a risk, because sometimes we carry that same toughness inward. We become critical of ourselves in ways we'd never speak to someone we love. Maybe you've caught yourself thinking, I'm too old for this, or I should be stronger by now, or even, what's the point? Those thoughts may come quietly, but they leave heavy footprints. And over time, they can weigh on your energy, your self-esteem, even your desire to take care of yourself. One of the most hidden signs that you need a lifestyle tune-up is negative self-talk. It doesn't show up on a medical chart, but it shows up in how you move through your day, how you hold yourself, how much joy you allow in. So what can you do about it? Start by noticing. That's it, just notice. When a critical thought comes in, pause and ask yourself, would I say this to my best friend, to my child, To someone I care about deeply? If the answer is no, then you know it's not truth. It's just old habit. From there, try softening the message. Instead of "I'm so slow these days," maybe say, "I'm giving my body the time it needs." Instead of "I should be doing more," try, "I'm doing what I can today, and that's enough." This isn't just about being positive. It's about being kind. And kindness, especially when directed inward, is deeply healing. The amazing thing is, when you start treating yourself with more compassion, other healthy choices begin to feel easier. You want to nourish your body better, move a little more, sleep a little deeper. You begin to shift from "I should do this" to "I want to feel better." And that shift, that's where lasting change begins. Living longer isn't just about avoiding illness. It's about protecting your energy, your spark, your sense of meaning. It's about giving yourself the freedom to grow, even now, especially now. Because no matter your age, there's still room for joy, still room for discovery, still room for laughter and love, and little moments that make life feel rich and whole. You don't need to flip your life upside down. You don't need to be someone else. All you need is to gently tune in to what your body is telling you, what your heart is craving, and what your soul already knows, that you're still here, and that matters. Every breath is a beginning. Every morning is a second chance. And every small adjustment you make, whether it's stretching more, smiling at yourself in the mirror, calling a friend, or simply taking a break when you need it, moves you one step closer to the vibrant, grounded, fulfilling life you deserve. And really, isn't that the goal? Not just to live longer, but to live better. To live more awake, more aware, and more alive in every moment you're given. Let's keep going. There's one more sign we need to talk about, and that brings us to the last sign. It's one that can be so subtle, so quiet, that it almost goes unnoticed. But when it starts creeping in, it can color everything: your energy, your motivation, even your relationships. This sign? It's a fading sense of curiosity. Think about it for a moment. When we're young, curiosity drives everything. We ask questions, we explore, we want to understand how things work and why the sky changes colors. And while we may not be crawling under furniture or climbing trees anymore, that spark of wonder, that desire to engage with the world, never truly disappears. It just gets quieter. The trouble is, over time, if we're not careful, routine can smother that spark. Days become predictable. Conversations circle around the same topics. We stick to the same meals, the same shows, the same paths on our walks. It's not that comfort is bad. Comfort is beautiful. But when curiosity is missing, life can start to feel a little dim, a little flat around the edges. Now, here's the thing. Curiosity doesn't need to be dramatic or grand. You don't need to take up skydiving or suddenly become a world traveler. It can be as simple as asking a new question, trying a recipe you've never made before, reading a book by someone whose life looks nothing like yours, planting a seed you've never grown, or calling someone you've lost touch with just to ask how they're really doing. The beauty of curiosity is that it brings freshness into your life. It reminds your brain and your spirit that you are still evolving, still becoming, that you're not just going through the motions, you're growing, and growth, no matter your age, is a sign of a healthy, engaged, resilient life. One of the best ways to reawaken curiosity is to invite novelty in small ways. You could start with something simple, like changing your morning routine. Swap the coffee for tea one morning. Sit in a different chair while you read. Or listen to a kind of music you've never tried before. You'd be surprised how just a tiny shift in your environment can change your energy. Another way to keep your curiosity alive is by learning. And no, I don't mean going back to school or memorizing textbooks. I mean feeding your mind with things that excite you. Maybe it's a documentary on a place you've never been. Maybe it's picking up a new hobby, painting, knitting, playing a little music, or even learning how to grow vegetables in pots on the porch. The moment you stop believing that life has something new to offer you is the moment you begin to settle. And you, my friend, were not made to settle. You were made to keep growing, keep reaching, and keep enjoying the journey in your own unique way. If you've been feeling stuck or uninspired, or like your days are blending together, that might just be your spirit saying, "I need something new." And the good news is you can respond to that call in the smallest ways. That's the secret. Longevity isn't just about how long you live. It's about how well you live within that time. And part of living well is keeping that inner light burning, that flicker of wonder, that question of what else is out there for me to try, to feel, to enjoy. You don't have to chase excitement. Just look for tiny sparks. And when you find one, follow it, even a few steps. That's how you begin tuning your life back into something that feels joyful and real and truly yours again. Now, if any part of today's message resonated with you, if you felt a little out of rhythm, if you've been dealing with aches or fatigue, or just that quiet sense that something isn't quite clicking, it's okay. You're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. Not at all. Sometimes all it takes is noticing, becoming aware of these hidden signs, gently and without judgment, and saying to yourself, okay, maybe it's time to make a few changes. That moment of awareness, that's the first step to healing, to strengthening, to restoring balance. And you don't have to do it all at once. Start with one change. Maybe you stretch for 5 minutes in the morning. Maybe you go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Maybe you try something new next week, something you haven't done in years. Let each step remind you that your life is still your own to shape. Because here's the truth. No matter your age, no matter your past, you're still capable of building a life that feels good to wake up to. A life that fits who you are now, not who you were 5 or 10 or 20 years ago. You deserve that. And it starts with tuning in to your body, your mind, your heart, and listening. I truly believe that with just a little attention and care, you can shift your path. You can bring in more energy, more peace, more joy. The small things matter. They add up. One healthy choice becomes 2. One positive thought becomes a habit. And before long, you're no longer surviving your days. You're enjoying them. And that's what we're all here for, right? So if you found this helpful, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments. What part of this message spoke to you? What small tune-up do you want to try this week? I read every comment, and I love hearing from you. Don't forget to like the video if it brought you value, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more heart-to-heart conversations like this. We're in this together, and there's still so much more life ahead to be lived fully and beautifully. Take care of yourself, be gentle with your journey, and remember, you're allowed to grow at your own pace. Here's to living your best life, one breath, one choice, one day at a time.